the next
Thank you.
presentation that is made by Christian Kohler. And the title of the presentation is Simon, Ecoacoustic Scientific Monitoring Data Management and Online Repository for Ecoacoustics. So, Christian, please switch on and start. I don't see any. Okay.
So you see my presentation, I hope. Buongiorno.
Yes.
Buongiorno, Gianni. Hello to everyone. My name is Christian Köhler. I'm from Bonn, Germany. I am a data scientist and I'm also a web developer. And I was working at a natural research museum, working with data of other scientists. And once in a while, I was being asked by my colleagues, I have some data. Can you upload it to some portal, to our server, to whatever? And being young and naive, I said, sure, give me your data. And I was hoping to get something like this. Nice, organized data, some sound files with it. But in reality, it looks more like this. Shoe boxes full of SD cards, tapes, whatever. And as you all know, it's frustrating to work with this kind of data because you lose so much information, like the metadata, where it was recorded may not be present anymore, and it's just a pain to work with this data. So I was trying to come up with an idea when being asked to make a plan for a large scale monitoring project with dozens of recorders for years. And I didn't want to end up with boxes full of SD cards or unstructured data. So I came up with an idea which is called Simon. It's the Scientific Monitoring Data Management and Online Repository, which was designed to help data scientists or to help monitoring projects to deal with their audio files without having to deal with organizing and storing and all those unpleasant things. We try to create a tool chain to help these. And the tool chain is made of 3 parts. It's a portable data collector, which can read your SD cards right in the field from the recorder. It doesn't need internet. It doesn't need any special infrastructure. We provide an online repository that works together with the portal data collector to manage, to annotate data and to store it, basically, for those projects in need of a long-term storage. And of course, we wanted to provide means of disseminating the data to wherever you want your data after you work with it. So to give you just an overview how the workflow is, you see on the left the recorders. You have here a screenshot of the portable data collector. You have a screenshot of the online repository where you can see all the nice stuff about your data and work with it. And you have the portals and sharing abilities to let others work with your data. Let me just go quickly through those different parts. We already heard in other talks the audio Moth, which is a very low cost acoustic logger. Nice because it runs for weeks on 3 batteries. You can schedule recording. It has a very high frequency range, well up into the ultrasound. It's rather small and it's lightweight, and it comes in different flavors. There's a new version where you can use not the built-in microphone, which is here, but you can use a regular 3.5 millimeter microphone jack, or the even brand new micro Moth, which is only 5 grams light and it's very, very small, has the same features, and gives you new opportunities to record data. But the concept is true for all audio recorders using SD cards. So it's also valid for the well-known song meter, for example. It's not limited to a specific kind of recorder. And remember, we don't want to deal with all the SD cards and remember which card is from which recorder and when did we take it out, when do we have to put it back in. So this is where the data collector comes into play. It's a very small handheld. It's like the size of a mobile phone. Maybe it's a bit thicker, a bit heavier. And it runs on a small single board computer. It can be powered with a USB bank, with a car adapter, whatever you have in the field. It has a little touch screen attached to it. And most important, it has an SD card slot. So you can just pop in the SD card and the data gets transferred with all the metadata. So the data collector can remember which recorder the card was in. And it is stored in an SSD storage up to 4 terabyte we can provide at the moment. And once this device reaches Wi-Fi or the local network, it starts transferring the data automatically to the online repository. To give you an example to how big it is and how it looks like, I have a very, very short video. I hope you can see, you can estimate the size of the device. There you can see the recordings transferred. You can get some metadata about the data on the SD card right in the field. And once the data is transmitted to the online repository, you have much more possibilities to work with the data. It's a cloud-based system. You can use it for long-term storage. You can create user groups to match your working group, for example, or to share data with others. You can do all the things like basic analysis. You can play back. You can find signals within the soundscape. Or what we are trying right now is to integrate some artificial intelligence, like BirdNet. We can run BirdNet on the data and analyze soundscapes and get lists of recognized birds. And we want to do that, of course, for other animal groups too, but we're not that far yet. We want to add filters, and we're still working on that too. So it's still work in progress. And of course, you can annotate your data, and you can write comments for you or for your colleagues looking at the data. And last but not least, you will be able to share the data. We have some examples like GBIF or IDIC-Bio, but we are not still sure what the right pods are or what the community would like to see. So to sum it up, you have the recorder, you have the data collector to retrieve the data from the recorders in the field, you have the portal to work with, and you have some means to share your data. And being still in a very early stage, I'm doing this more or less as a side project of mine, so no funding, no project behind that. I want to know what you want. I want to get feedback, what in real life is needed. Where would you like to publish your data? Is it GBIF? Is it IDIC-Bio, iNaturalist, whatever? And also, what data standards are the preferred ones within the monitoring community? I've just listed a few. I've been talking about this on the TED Week, dealing with standards. So I know all the discussion about the which standard is right or not right or is for the future. I want your feedback, and I want to know what you would like to use. And with that said, I would like to end my talk to have some more time for discussion and for hopefully some feedback regarding your needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, for your presentation. The system you presented is really great and open to very interesting developments, I think. And as you say, it is important to get feedback from the user community to understand where to go in future with the development. So I see some raised hands. The first one is Sandra Müller. Please, Sandra.
Yes. Hello. Wait. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot really give you input on data standards, but I have some or quite a lot of practical questions. Let's start with maybe the most obvious one is like, how much data can you actually store? When you say that you don't have a project behind it, I mean, if you publish this, you can be easily overflown with hundreds of terabytes very soon. So
yes, the portal device, which is for using in the field, has has up to 4 terabyte, which you can use in the field. How much you can use on the online repository is basically limited to whatever hard disks you can get. It's meant to be an open source system, so you can install it on a suitable server, and if you have a petabyte of hard disk, you can store a petabyte.
okay, so I buy the actual storage capacity, and then and this is like how you say this, the interface to use that, right?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Actually, I don't have a business model for that yet. Maybe if there's the requirement, I will provide cloud computing space, and you can rent it for your project or whatever. But we have to develop a business case. I'm not that far yet.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, there was another raised hands before, but I don't see any more. Klaus, really, please go on with your question.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Actually, I was discussing with Christian last year, and I think there is an urgent need for such a repository. Just a question about the frictionless data. I know about the ABCD standards and the Darwin core standards. So that would mean that I have an identified specimen on the audio Moth recording and then connect this to GBIF. But how do you connect an entire soundscape to GBIF? I think up to now there is no way to connect an entire soundscape. So I wonder what you mean by frictionless data. Maybe that's the solution.
Frictionless data was mentioned or came up last year on the last year's TED Week. It's basically, it's not a standard of TED Week, but it's rather a technique to have unorganized data. And a bit like you have key value storage, and you can create your own fields and create your own data schema, but still that would not be compatible with GBIF or anything. So GBIF really is a problem because you have to comply to their standards, and they don't support soundscapes yet, as you said.
There are no more questions. I have something to ask. Of course, your project is fascinating and opening new perspectives in the not only in the storage, but in general in the organization of the data, and mainly in the ability to share the data among different scientists. Soundscapes are very complex data sets, and very often each researcher has its own focus. Maybe one is focusing on birds, another one on geophony, another one on the technophony or anthropophony, and so on. So we can have different views, different needs about how to manage the data. And I think it is really required to have somewhere a repository for big soundscape data sets. How do you think that Simon can be evolved to manage big environmental data sets, maybe in many cases without any specific species identification? For example, I have a huge number of terabytes of recordings, 10 minutes every 30 minutes for years. How you think Simon can face with this type of approach?
Good question. That's why I'm here to hear this kind of questions. To be honest, I don't know yet. Hearing this requirement for the first time, we have to think about it. I could imagine that you can share data without your own comments and your own annotations. So you only share data sets, and other groups or other researchers can do their own research on the same data, but produce metadata only visible to themselves. So one is interesting in the insect calls, and he analyzes it for insects, and others don't see their annotations, but use their bird annotations or whatever they want to do with it. But it's a good question I have to think about. Okay.
And the systems, the online system also implements data annotation?
Yes, it's a prototype yet, so it's
okay.
nothing ready to use. We are putting in parts as we go along, and if there's a requirement for special needs, how to annotate or how to comment, you can do that. Right now, you can just mark a position in the sound file and write it's a human, or it's a car, or a gunshot or whatever. But we want to add the example, the BirdNet KI, to do automated annotations, so you can skip through the large file and find all the occurrences of a certain species, for example.
Okay, I see some more questions on the chat, and I try to select the most interesting. And one is, in terms of analysis, would you only be able to undertake the analysis implemented and supported by Simon, or the system can interact with R or Python codes, or it can interface with computing clouds for advanced analysis?
Nice question. It can. The software is written in Python, and we are happy to include anything you throw at us. So if you already have analyzing tools, we are happy to incorporate them. You can do it yourself. The code is will be open source. So yes, you can plug in any analyzing tool you might have, especially in Python. It will be rather easy.
Okay. Another question is, they ask if it's available for download for user testing. You have a website link to examine the thing?
Yes, we are not, it's not released yet. We're working at the COVID just threw us back a bit. So it will be available within the next few months. And I'm happy to announce once the first version to download is ready to examine.
Okay, I thank you very much. I think you will receive a lot of further questions after the conference because your project is very interesting. Now it is time to go to the coffee break, so everyone can go to his own coffee place to get a coffee and a sweet or something like that. It is a pity we can't meet together to chat, to discuss, to see each other directly in presence and not online, but that's the situation that we can do elsewhere. So we have to be back here at 4:50, 4 p.m. and 50, to start again with the second part